What's the culture of Charlotte County Sheriff's Office in terms of policing, how you go about it, community policing? You know, we see a lot of stuff happening on the national scale now that sort of put a black eye on law enforcement. Talk about your culture and why certain things that we are seeing don't exist within your culture.
Yeah, you know, we've been preaching, long before I was sheriff, we've preached community policing. We've always been out in our community. And then when I was elected sheriff, I tried to take it to the next level. We have more than 80 homeowners and neighborhood watch associations throughout the county that we deal with on a regular basis. On a monthly basis, we meet with them, or sooner if we need to, if something's going on within their neighborhood. We're involved with all nonprofit organizations within our county, so we can keep our finger on the pulse of what the needs are of the community. I believe I have somebody who sits on the board of every nonprofit organization.
Really?
Yes. So, you know, we need to. We're not just looking. We're more than just law enforcement nowadays. We have to look at what's the best for our community and what the quality of life issues are, and deal with those. And we've been very fortunate. And you know, long before all this stuff had happened that we're seeing in the national media, for many, many years now, we meet monthly with the NAACP. It started out with members of the NAACP, myself, and the former police chief of Punta Gorda. And we just would have a roundtable every month, and we've kind of expanded it, and we brought in other elected officials within the county too. So we have an open conversation, open discussion, so we can get ahead of any problems that we might see forthcoming. And if they have any questions for us as to why we do what we do, we're an open book. We let them know.
Who is Sheriff Prummell? Where did you come from? How did you rise to the ranks? What's your background?
Well, I started with the sheriff's office 29 years ago. I was 5 years old.
I started the show 30 years ago and I was 10. Go ahead.
I started with the sheriff's office 29 years ago. I started as a reserve deputy. I volunteered my time. Then later on I was hired on full-time. I worked as a deputy on road patrol. I went into investigations. I've worked property crimes, major crimes. I've been promoted throughout the ranks, and I've worked in, supervised, or commanded virtually every area of the office before I was elected sheriff in 2012, when my predecessor decided to retire. Originally, I'm from New York, but I don't like the cold weather.
Okay.
So I came to Southwest Florida.
See that? We get to know on this show. We get to know our sheriff in Charlotte County. The Tabitha Jackson Carter, recently promoted to captain. It's a big deal in the African American community here in Southwest Florida for a female to be promoted to captain. And she was promoted, she's the first captain, African American captain in your department. Tell us about your thoughts about Tabitha Jackson Carter.
Well, Tabitha was a no-brainer, and you know, I didn't realize that she was the first black female promoted in Charlotte County until at her promotion ceremony.
Really?
When the major was reading her bio and stuff like that, he had mentioned that. And I didn't promote her because of the color of her skin. I promoted her because she's more than capable of doing the job. She's a longtime member of the sheriff's office. She's smart, she's educated, she treats her people right. It was a no-brainer.
That's interesting that you say you hadn't thought about it or hadn't noticed it. Now that you, not necessarily in your conscience, the whole idea of that being the first person to African American to rise to that rank, diversity, looking like our community, showing, rewarding people for their abilities. Did that raise the consciousness as you as a sheriff, or did it change anything in terms of how you're looking down the line now and seeing what opportunities people may have not, may have gotten looked over or something?
No, not really. I've always looked at promotions by the person who I believe is best qualified for the job, can do the job. And like I said, she was a no-brainer. I didn't look at her as a female. I didn't look at her as being black. I looked at her as a sheriff's deputy. At the time, she was a lieutenant, and she was just it was her time. She was ready. She rose above the rest of them.